Good afternoon. I would like to call this workshop to order at 2:01 p.m. Item number 1, 26-3507, review and tentative approval of the Neola Policy 8451, head lice, presented by Barbara Kidder, Assistant Superintendent of Business Support and Operations. Ms. Kidder.
And I think joining Ms. Kidder is Jill. Are you coming up today for this too? Okay.
Good afternoon, Board. Superintendent Pender. I'm here to assist in presenting Policy 8451 with Ms. Kalasa, who will speak about the review.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. This was an update to head lice, just for a brief summary. Years ago, we had policies that did not allow students with nits, which would be the eggs, in school, or of course live lice. Several years ago, that changed through recommendations from CDC and Department of Health because of attendance. It was impacting attendance, so they then made a recommendation for the policy to they could be in school with nits. So this was brought to us to update and to make a recommendation that students with are not allowed in school without nits, with nits or live lice.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bonzik.
I do. So, looking at it, where we've corrected it, and it says, if a student with nit live lice is not able to be picked up immediately, they may remain in the classroom for the remainder of the day. So we either need to delete that or put in that they'll be kept in the clinic until someone can pick them up. One or the other, only because I think sending a kid back to class with live lice in their hair,
Right.
just one, we can't keep them away from the other kids, and we're not going to seclude a child in a room full of kids. So that, and then the other thing that I noticed, the district practices a policy of no lice, no nits, and instead of saying and no nits criteria for return to school, it just says no nits. So
Yeah, so put an X in for no live lice too.
right, no
Yes.
live lice and
Okay.
no nits criteria to return back
Okay.
to school. That would be my suggestions.
Okay.
I agree with Ms. Bonzik. Anyone else have anything to say on that?
Yes, I agree as
All right,
well.
Ms. Rodriguez.
The infestation, continues the process, and I think it's hard. I think when parents work that hard to delouse their whole home, their carpets, their couches, the pillows, the blankets, the bedding, the stuffed animals, all the above, and they have to take time off from work, and it impacts the whole household. And then you take them back, they do their due diligence, and then if other children are not being treated, and then those kids are in the class, or they have the nits that turn into the live lice, and then it just is a bad situation because those other children that are there that are clean, now they get it again, and it just continues. It's a bad process. So I don't think they should be able to go back, I agree, back into the classroom for the day. I think they have to stay out.
For my clarification and for the policy going forward, the sentence, if a student with nits or live lice is not able to be picked up immediately, they may remain in the classroom for the remainder of that day. Those next two sentences kind of follow that. So the principal or designee will determine the type of activities the student will be engaged in for the rest of the day. So if they're not there,
And you keep those sentences.
so I'm asking if you all would like that whole section deleted.
The whole section.
I do. Yeah, I think so. However, what would happen if the parent does not come and pick up the child and say they're a bus rider? Do we need to clarify anything on that, or just leave that up to the?
I think we would leave that up to the school
Admin.
and the principal.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have one other
All right,
thought.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Second paragraph says if nits or lice are found, siblings at the same school will be checked for infestation. I think all siblings in any school should be checked. The last sentence. Nits or lice are found, siblings at the same school will be checked. for
Where are you, Mark?
second
Second
paragraph
paragraph at the top.
at the top in blue or black, whatever it is. The last sentence. If
So,
nits or lice are found, siblings at the same school will be checked for lice infestation as well.
That's
I
been in
think it should
policy.
be all siblings, regardless of the school.
so are you suggesting taking out at the same school and then it would read siblings will be checked for lice infestation
And you
as
could
well?
probably refine it, siblings at any school or siblings in school. Yeah, that just needs to be changed because there could be different schools.
But I have a problem with them getting on the bus. There's 3 to a seat, and they're usually playing, especially if they're little, and usually it's the younger children that get the lice, and they're all over each other. And I think that negates the whole purpose of the whole day that we kept them out of the classroom. If we're going to keep them out of the classroom and they're not going to have academic time, then why at the end of the day are we going to put them on the bus with all these other kids and all their heads on the bus are together? In the classroom, they're not near as close as they are on a bus.
What happens if the parent doesn't have the ability to pick the child up?
I don't know, but we're just discussing it. So let's just think about it logically.
Yeah.
If you put them 3 to a row on a bus and they have it,
I think it should say that the child should be picked up immediately.
it just
It
doesn't
does.
make sense to me. If
Most-
we're going to do
right.
one, we can't not do the other. So let's
As
just
most
kind of
parents do
brainstorm.
have more
If
than-
we're,
Could we also isolate them on a bus? Make it
No.
isolated on a bus?
You still, yeah, they still,
No,
I
then
think
they're
it should
touching the
just state
seats
that
and
they have
such.
to be picked up by immediately. They have to be picked up.
It does state
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I mean, it does say that.
Right.
But my question was what happens if they didn't? Because if they don't come pick them up and they sit in the clinic all day and they aren't able to come get them, but I guess that would be a case by case.
but sometimes when
Situation.
things happen, say a child is in trouble and it's something pretty serious, and the parent has to show up and they have to come for whatever. That's for instance. This is no different. Yeah, it's a whole different situation, but sometimes you just have to have a parent. Somebody's got to get somebody.
You have emergency contacts. I would go down
You
that
just go
list
through your
first.
list and you have
So-
to pick something.
Do you want it to say are not permitted on the bus in this
Yeah.
somewhere?
Yes, because if we leave it school by school and leave it up to principals and it's going to be all different opinions, and everybody thinks differently and everybody has different ideas and beliefs about the topic. So I think that if we're going to do one, we need to follow through and see our hand all the way and make sure that that child is now not missing curriculum all day, but yet they're sitting on a seat with 3, and then the kids that are next to them, the other seat right next to them, usually they're all together.
So it says if a student with nits or lice is not able to be picked up immediately, which we're not going to do that, but I guess you would say at the end
Remain in the clinic.
they remain in the clinic and are not allowed to ride the bus. But I mean, if they're picked up immediately, that's
That negates
saying they
that.
have to say.
Means they're gone.
But if the parents
Right.
cannot come and they have to stay all day, then they have to stay in the front office, I guess, until the parent gets there at the end of the day. After school, after all the kids have left the school and the admin's still there, whatever time the parent shows up, the child has to stay. The child cannot get on the bus.
Or emergency contact.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to put it.
Trying to figure out how to word that for you.
So it would state that if a student with nits and lice is not able to pick up immediately, they will remain in the clinic until they are able to be picked up. They must be picked up.
Right.
Remain in the clinic
You could say
until
something like, and under no circumstances will they be allowed to ride the bus. I think you should spell that out.
I agree.
Good idea.
they can be.
Thank you, Mr. Myers.
All right, so this sentence, okay, so the one we were going to strike through, we're going to modify
Right.
to say they will remain in the clinic until, I don't know if you could hear me, until they can be picked up. And what was your phrase? You had a good phrase for the bus?
Under no circumstances shall they be allowed to ride the bus home.
And the rest will be deleted out.
Take away the principal or designee will determine
Yep.
the type of
Right.
activities.
Right,
And then take away the rest. If head-to-head contact is possible, take that away.
okay.
Yep.
And then you're going to leave the bottom, parent guardian will receive a head lice notification.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Treatment letter.
stays.
After NITS and/or live lice treatment, the student must report to the clinic with parent guardian to be examined for lice or NITS before they may return to class.
Yep. And then we're just going to do X and no live lice, no nits. Return.
Yeah.
A lot of this lice that's taking place is going around that the child isn't even going to the clinic, and the parent, it's just in the classroom. So, but back when I was in school, the teacher was able to look in the.
And they don't line them up anymore and do head checks.
That's what they said. Classroom head checks are not recommended.
Because
That's on
what's
there.
happening is we're only getting a small percentage. So the students that are in the classroom that you never know about that have lice for 3-4 weeks and nobody knows.
They also don't notify other parents anymore. So if a student has head lice, they don't notify the parents in the classroom,
know.
the other
Do
Do
parents.
you think that's a good
To
idea?
check.
No, I
The
don't.
parents should be notified that there was a student
It
in the
doesn't.
classroom with lice?
It doesn't have to say who. Of course, we would never.
Well, it's good to know to check your own kid's head because they're not checking, they're not doing
yeah, it could
a
say
class
student,
check.
but why is that?
I think we did discuss when we were
We did.
meeting
That
that
was-
if there was, not one, but if there was multiple cases or more than one, things like that, that a generic informational parent square or notification would be sent home.
But why not just always? Why not be standard policy that
Proactive.
anytime a child has lice, that classroom gets notified, so that the parents then can
We
do
can
their
add
due
that.
diligence. See, here's how we're missing it: the parents don't know. So what's happening is then another child gets lice. That parent might treat them. Another child does not get treated, and it's a recurring problem.
And you're not doing the head check, so you can't identify anybody else in the room that's doing it. So really, you're leaving it up to the parent, but the parent is blind. They have no idea that this is happening. So they're thinking, oh, you just got dandruff or you're itching your head today.
So
What's going on?
maybe after the last sentence, head lice information sheet, because we did develop one of those, is available and can be used. We can add in either before that or after it that notification will be made to the classroom.
I think it should go after this head lice notification and treatment letter, and it should specify that in the classroom of whichever student is, the student that's in whatever class the student is in, that the entire class a parent should get notified, however you want to word it, but
Parent notification.
parent notification sent out.
Parent notification.
Well, our classroom head checks are not recommended. However,
Parent notification will go out.
something like that, yeah.
I know.
That used to be the case
Yeah.
Right.
years ago.
I know, we didn't have near the problem then, because the teacher
went
was
away,
able
now
to
it's
check
back.
it,
It's a lot.
and they were able to tell all the parents that we
So
had a problem.
I added classroom parent notification will be sent out.
Say it again.
Classroom parent notification will be provided
To all parents,
in the classroom,
Right,
not
that's
the
what
whole
classroom,
school.
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Not just that student. I just want to make sure it says it to
classroom.
where they didn't think
Yes.
it was just that
Classroom head
student.
checks.
I have classroom parent. Okay, anything else?
I think that's it.
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you for working so hard on this. and
No.
Also getting the information sheet together. You guys did a great job with that.
Yeah, we'll get that out too. So you want me to give you my notes? Can you see that? All right. I'll neaten it up a little bit. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, lady.
Thank you.
Oh, I just have to say, you two look like twins today.
It's the day for plaid.
The same shirt under, the same sports.
Kind of the same haircut. kind
Yeah.
of on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We will move on to item number 2, 26-3562, presentation of the Hernando County School District Volunteer Pre-Kindergarten Program, presented by Ms. Micah Lecca and Kelly Downing. And Ms. Jeppesen. Sorry. Thank you, ladies.
So good afternoon. We are going to provide you this afternoon with an overview of our VPK programs, where we're at now, and then our plan for the 26-27 school year. We're going to review next steps, data, and the communication that we have for our existing programs and our new programs that we're looking into. So I'm going to turn it over to these ladies to walk through the presentation.
Good afternoon. So I'm Connie Jeppesen, and I am the Early Learning Specialist for Hernando County Schools, working with the VPK programs in our schools. And so, like Gina said, we're going to go ahead and just get started. Our current VPK plan, this table shows the schools that have VPK classes, how many classes are in each school for VPK, the number of students enrolled, and then the number on the wait list. This was information that is most current, their number on wait list. Sometimes we've had kids that have exited the program for various reasons. They might have moved and they've been pulling kids off the wait list. So this was at the time, but you can see in our 25-26 school year, we're serving 253 4-year-olds. And our proposed VPK plan, that's the pink section. We're looking at adding an additional classroom at 4 schools: Eastside, Floyd, Moton, and Winding Waters K-8. And then at Suncoast Elementary, opening 2 classes. That's a school that currently has 0 VPK classes. If we do all of that, we would go from serving 253 students to 373 for the 26-27 school year. Okay. Any questions before I go on?
I do.
Nope.
So, looking at this, and something I mentioned to Mr. Pender was, we have VPK at almost all of our schools. We do not have VPK at EK8. I would like to see, instead of putting 2 at Suncoast Elementary, maybe swinging 1 into EK8. So then we have, at every one of our schools, we have at least 1 VPK program, which again will bring our kids into our schools and try to keep them there.
We did look at EK8 as an option, but currently they don't have a classroom that we would be able to come in and take over. We will continue to revisit that with some other options next year. One of them could be possibly looking at ESE blended VPK models like we have at some of the other school sites, but right now they don't have a classroom that we would be able to come into and take over for VPK.
Please, what, full?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things when we started with VPK, when we originally started, it was who has space. That's kind of the first place that we start, making sure that the classroom, that their space and that classroom space is appropriate for VPK. So sometimes, like EK8, that's a barrier for this coming year, them having that classroom space. So we'll work with Explorer, for the following year to see about maybe getting creative with some things if possible, or possibly doing, like Kelly said, that split model that we have in some of our other schools. But space sometimes is a barrier.
How many rooms, pre-K ESE rooms, are at EK8 currently? There are 4 ESE pre-K rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So
is there a way to maybe move one to another school to open the option to have?
I don't know, only because in the ESE pre-K setting, they also provide transportation. So then that might develop some hardships with the routing for getting kids from one to another. If you're splitting them, how do you decide if there's siblings at that school? It can kind of become really hard. You'd probably be looking at who would voluntarily go to another campus.
Mm-hmm.
We do offer an out-of-zone application for VPK. So if there's a child or family living in the EK8 school zone that is not able to go to a VPK, then we can bring them into any open available spots that we may have. And we have done that. We've had some kids go to Deltona or Floyd that were zoned for EK8, and there was an open spot, and they were able to take that.
Okay, Ms. Jubal.
If any of the board members ever walked through EK8 classroom by classroom, would we find any classrooms that are being used for other purposes than a classroom with students sitting in them every day?
I don't know of anything.
I mean, we could double check on that and see, and talk to the principal if there's a space that's not being used for a student classroom or whatever. We can definitely double check and look. I mean, we've had those conversations, but we can definitely check again with her. I think one of the other things too that Kelly mentioned, if there's a student that is zoned for EK8 or whatever. One of the things that we've also done, let's just say that family wants to go to Suncoast and they wind up really liking Suncoast and want to stay there. We reach out or they reach out to us and we help them with that option through school choice, because we've done that in the past with VPK. So they may not be zoned for that school, but then they wind up being part of that school community and they want to stay, and then we give them that option to do that through that school choice process.
So the students that are in pre-K at EK8, all of them are zoned for that area, or?
Those are all ESE placement, and they're
definitely zoned.
It's all
Yeah.
done through that zoning.
Well,
Or
That's
through
our
an IEP.
ESE pre-Ks. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify
What I'm
that.
talking about are something
Some
other,
rooms. Oh,
other
yeah, I
than those
Right.
classrooms.
Yeah,
SEVP.
that they're using for other things, yeah.
Yes, could
Understood.
be testing, could be
Right.
something.
Right, like a computer
I didn't hear
lab.
the answer to that. Does anyone know?
So I have walked Explore. I haven't walked it this year, but I have walked it because the ESE wing is down that hallway where VPK would go along with kindergarten and first grade. And I have seen empty classrooms or classrooms that are used for things that I think we could maybe find somewhere else to use. But I haven't walked this year, so I'm not going to say that's 100%, but I do know one of the classrooms was used. It used to be band and music, and now it's used for like a computer lab or something.
Right.
One is like kind of an art room, but it's not an art room, but it's where they hold things when they have things at the school, so I don't know if it's empty all the time.
We can double check with the
So-
principal.
Mr.
for
Pender?
sure.
My biggest concern,
sorry.
my biggest concern is, just like you stated, if we don't have school choice for our kids coming in, they get into a school, they get very used to a school, and if they don't get their magnet schools, they're going to want to stay where our choice school is, and we might not be able to keep them there.
Right.
And then you're going to have an issue where some parents are going to be like, oh, well, if I can't stay in this school, I'm going to pull them and go to private. We've lost them.
Yeah.
So again, if we
Yeah.
don't have that option for them all to go to their zone schools, then
Right.
we
So
could
one of
lose
the
them.
things that Kelly and Connie have been doing, they've started calling all of our VPK families so that if there's a situation like that, we're getting ahead of it to make sure that we're able to keep those students through school choice or whatever the situation is. So far, what the families that they've called, really positive, obviously. And then what we'll do if there's any situations like that, the principal will reach out, we'll get involved to make sure that they're able to stay on choice.
Oh, wait, Mr. Pender was going to ask something. Mr. Johnson, hold on 1 second.
So we'll get with the principal at EK8.
Yep.
We'll go out, somebody will go out and walk, see if there's any
Yes.
available space. And, I think Ms. Bonzik started to say this, I don't know if people understood, but there is, even though people think EK8's part of it's 3 stories, pre-K can only be on the ground floor. That's part of the requirement. So it's only classrooms on the ground floor, just for clarification purposes, that we can use. And we'll go take a look and see what's available out there.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know, out of the 263 students currently enrolled in the VPK, how many actually come and attend our school in first grade, whether they moved or enrolled into it.
I mean,
Kindergarten.
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 Yeah.
And I would say that probably 99.9% of them, if they can stay, stay.
That's why they're making you're also making the
I'd
phone
still
calls.
like to know that number.
Kind of like they all think that Chocochatty, if they get their kids in the VPK at Chocochatty, they're automatic guaranteed in Chocochatty. So they all want it. They line up at 3 in the morning to register for our VPK program at Chocochatty.
Yeah.
So
And how many of the ones,
same way with Challenger.
but the ones that don't get into Chocochatty, I wonder how many of them stay in the school system or go elsewhere. Those are the numbers I'd like to see.
Yeah, that's what we're in the process of collecting.
Those were the first calls that we made, were to our self-pay program. because we also know that they are choosing that school. So we did, reach out to them first. And
But,
I will
yes,
say the
so-
majority of them are choosing to stay in the public school setting, whether or not they got into a magnet program or not. We had a couple that had questions about private school options. And so we just gave them, information.
We're spending money to have someone help retain students in our system. So it would be efficient for us to know how many students we're losing to either homeschooling or private schools out of the VPK program. That's all I'm asking. Because if we're going to spend money to get them back at a future date, let's try to negate how many we lose to begin with. We have to change our mindset and be more competitive with the rest of the education system.
For
So I know you're gearing up for that, and I know you're heading in that direction. So one of the ways to do it is through the data.
And
And
if
the
we-
data will tell us how effective we are.
And if we can capture them for kindergarten,
Right.
our kids that are with us in kindergarten outperform the students who do not attend
Our VPK
our
program.
VPK or any VPK for that matter.
For any
When they
VPK.
take the kindergarten progress monitoring.
Right.
Correct.
So our statistics and our data shows good,
Yes.
positive results there.
So once they're finished with all of the calls and, families, they're discussing those options, then we can bring that number back to say, out of the 253, we have, 15 families that aren't returning because they're moving, or like a couple of them, it was we're moving out of the district or this or that, but we can definitely bring that number forward.
Ms.
That would be
Rodriguez,
great. Thanks. You'll have that like June 2nd or 3rd.
We should have that soon. They've been calling already, so.
We're almost
Yes.
done with those.
Yeah,
phone calls.
they're almost done.
But that's why I stated
I'm
what I
joking.
stated
Yeah.
about the EK8, because I very well know my grandson goes to one of our VPKs, and I very well know that my grandson came in 21%. Now, halfway through the school year, is 81%.
Yep.
And I very well know that my daughter-in-law was like, Mom, if I don't get into here, I'm going to put him in private. And I was like, wait a minute, guys. Our schools are all good. It's not, but she got used to something.
And do you know how?
So then when she got used to it, she's like, well, I'll stay here, or if I can't get in here or here that I want on choice, then I'm going to go here. So she had all options already laid out, not by my choice and knowing that I sit on the school board, but knowing this is what she wants best for her son. Do you
And
see what
that-
I'm
and
saying?
that's-
So she got used to something.
And that was
And
a
that's where
phone
we're
call.
failing, because we have excellent schools, and to get that knowledge out, it's just not the two magnet schools that are great in this county.
Absolutely.
It's all the schools, and we're failing at getting that message across.
Well, we're doing the right thing by starting the VPK to start them and,
Yeah,
and show them this
yeah,
is
of course.
definitely.
And even these parent phone calls and having that time to just ask them questions and get their input and then give them, I sat on the phone with them, walking them through the school choice process. Okay, click here, fill out the school mint application. You'll find out soon. And just reassuring them that they'll know where their 5-year-old's going to kindergarten by the end of the school year. Because I think that was the biggest thing, is some of them were just not sure what that was going to look like. And, they're little babies still, so they want to know there's a plan.
Ms. Rodriguez?
I also feel like that kind of circles back to my idea that all the schools should be created equal. And here we have, in the parents' minds, a Harvard and a Yale. And if we can't get in one of those, then we're going to go elsewhere. We're going to go private, or we're going to homeschool, or we're going to travel to another county and try to pick the Harvard or the Yale. I think that we set ourselves up for, well, I wasn't going to say that, but sort of. We do, because the parents are so selective and they want those schools, and then when they don't get them, then we lose those children. And I think what we really should be looking at, and this is what I've said from day one that I came on the board, and I'll stay it for the rest of the 10 years from now, we should be looking at getting our other schools up to par, to where when I go to Chocochatty and I walk through Chocochatty and I'm there for the day, that's like a community. They're doing all sorts of things. They're interacting. It's hands-on. It's so neat. And the experience that those students get, that is why the parents want their kids there. When you go back over to one of our regular schools, it's just classroom to classroom to classroom that they go to from day to day to day, and they go through the process. It's not a bad thing. It's still teaching. The curriculum's the same. They're still learning, so academically, But as far as all the perks and all the ability to have the different, the animals and the golf and the taekwondo and a court, the kids can be a judge, a sheriff, and all the different things. I think the bailiff, all these different things that we have. They have a cafe. It looks like Starbucks there. The kids get to cook. They get to make drinks. They get to serve danishes. You get the money. All of that stuff. They have places where they're drawing and they're making postcards, and then you can buy the postcards. They're selling their postcards that all the kids draw. All of this stuff, like I said, it's like a little technical school on every level, which I understand that, this is how it's been. But I just think that I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to the rest of the community. I think it's unfair to only a small percentage get to have that access. And I just don't think it's fair. I think all taxpayers are paying the same amount. I think everybody's here and everybody wants that for their child. So for me, what I would love to see is us work on making our other schools to where it's not just 2 or 3 schools we have in this county that are the elite. I would love to see everything else come up to the top, and that way we have all of our schools and parents are excited and happy because it's not just a few seats that they have for us to be able to utilize, and everybody's fighting for those seats. And I think that would be the best thing we could do as a district.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I agree, and that's part of the messaging, because I think we have a lot of schools that reach up to it. Eastside Elementary, Mr. Laster does a phenomenal job with the students out there. He offers a lot there as well. So if we could get the message out that our schools are excellent across the board, we wouldn't lose as many students. And I think this is what we're all talking about. We're not talking, and the quality is there, but the message is not.
Well,
and that's what we have to work on, getting the message out.
And I think what I've been told when I say this over and over is, well, every school has something. No, it's not created equal. So I'll argue with anybody on that. They are not the same. Yes, they all have something, but they're not the same. If anyone wants to take a tour and go to Chocochatty for the day and go to Challenger for the day and then go back to the other schools, it is entirely a different feeling. The whole thing, the whole day, everything that the students are getting to do is different than the other schools. So as much as we might have programs in other schools, we do. But if we could make them all that way, and this isn't a secret, so I'm not up here divulging right now something that the rest of the constituents in this county know. Why do you think everybody fights to get there? Everybody's fighting to put their kids there because everyone knows what I know. So we're all parents, we all know, everybody talks, everybody's on social media, everyone understands it. So I think that we're doing a good job, and I think our grades we're seeing, that's proof in the pudding right there, that our grades are moving. We're moving to almost an A. So I think for sure we're moving in the right direction and across the county with all of our schools. But I'm just saying that up close and personal touch that these students get and the interaction through the day and all the things available to them, it's not the same. It's nothing like that. In fact, when I go to Chocochatty, I sit there and scratch my head thinking, why didn't I ever put my kids here? Why did I ever not try? I put them close to where we lived.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. I love the school I'm at. I wouldn't change them. But seeing that does make me think, gosh, they missed a lot of neat things. Like that whole experience is really neat. So I would love to see that happen to elsewhere.
Well, and I will say, hopefully, VPK as a program can help foster that at all of the schools that we interact with, and that is the welcoming kind of program that parents and the community get when they start with our VPK and they choose our VPK over another provider.
By all means, that's a start.
That's the start.
But that's still not changing the whole day, 8 hours when you're in there compared to other schools, compared to these elite selected schools.
Mr. Pender.
I agree that every school needs something, like you said, not the same, but something that attracts students. I think that probably the end of February, yes, it's January. So the end of February, we're going to bring back a proposal and the start of some of that and looking at other schools and what we can do. So we're going to bring that back the end of February for a proposal that will be presented to the board to kind of start that. We're not ready. We don't have all the pieces of it yet, but we'll have that by the end of February. VPK is a part of that. Us sharing more, and our over the summer leadership conference, part of that theme was why Hernando, and sharing what we do. certainly Chocochatty's been around for 20 some years, and it's built that over the years. But we have to start it in our other schools so that that can grow too in our other schools. And there are some different things that go well, obviously, in our other schools. Like you said, they have something, but it's not that. So we're thinking what we bring back in February may be the start of that, what you're talking about, I believe, at another school. So I don't want to share too much and
Sure.
get ahead of myself.
And what that looks like you said, they're not going to share every detail because there's so many things it can look like. But one of the things is parent involvement. So I understand that as much as I sit here and say I would love to see this, we also have to be realist, and we have to know the fact that those schools, those parents are engaged.
Right.
Those parents are involved. So this sets the bar to a whole nother level. And if we're going to do that to our other schools, we would have to then adhere to what they're doing, some of that, and make sure that we have parents that are getting involved and that we have the obligation and we have them agreeing to participating. Because
Absolutely.
in order for us to make it that way. And I think that a lot of parents would get on board if they knew that they had access to other schools that were like that.
Right. Absolutely.
I'd also like to comment on the marketing for the VPK. You guys have definitely stepped up that, and I appreciate that. I would love to see next year, starting in December, because January, I think it's January 1st or something, that it opens for the vouchers.
Yes.
I know I had several parents that reached out to me once you guys put out that, we're going to have it at different schools. They were very interested. I have some that are fearful because they can't go till March 3rd, and they're like, what if it fills up? And then now I have to try to figure out another one. I don't know if the March 3rd there's a reason behind that date, but that is a concern for some of the parents. So they're actually paying application fees for other daycares or other, VPKs, just to ensure they have another spot. So I don't know if that's something we could look at changing, and for definite for next year to start maybe even before the Christmas break to say, hey, pay parents, here's a friendly reminder. Okay.
Yes, the VPK portal does open for parents because the parents have to go on to Family Services at Florida Early Learning in order to apply for and then get a certificate. That is the first step. And that does open on January 1st of every year, even if it's the weekend. Historically, they've done March in the county as a time for registration. And I think that kind of lends itself just giving parents time to get that done. Even though you apply on January 1st, you don't get your certificate back on January 1st. So there's always a little bit of a lag time.
If they don't have their certificate and they wait in line for one of our pre-Ks, are you allowed to sign up and then bring the voucher back later? Or is it whoever's in, comes first gets it with their voucher?
I will be honest, usually we say that they need to have their voucher because the voucher is what makes them eligible for the program. So the state of Florida, when they put in that information, they're determining, yes, you meet the requirement. Your child is 4 by September 1st of that given year. You're a resident of the state of Florida, have not attended VPK before, all those things. So if a child is not eligible, then we're basically taking a spot for someone
who
is eligible.
Okay. Did we state that when we sent out the information for them that they have to, you have to have it to hold your spot?
Yeah, we let them know that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the flyer. That is
Perfect.
like the very first step. And I get lots and lots and lots of phone calls, usually starting right around when I come back in January. And I'm talking to multiple parents a day, even just the process of going through the portal, because they have to go through the Florida single sign-on. It's set up an account. It's a little bit convoluted, but that's just the process that was set up. So just I kind of help them through that, and I just let them know you'll bring it to the school, your name will get put on. And I will say, obviously, we as a public school, we do not charge any sort of registration fee. I can't speak to what other private providers are doing as far as whether they're charging a fee or not, but anytime, especially if there's a waiting list situation, like let's say it's after that March date and a school is filled and there's a waiting list, I always do recommend to parents, yes, you're on the waiting list, but we might not know till we get closer towards the beginning of the year. I would not want you to all of a sudden in July realize, I don't have a space. So I'm like, you might want to reach out to other private providers to see what's available. and make your decision when the time comes.
Understood. Are you going to send one more reminder before the March 3rd?
Yes, we're going to talk about communication. We have a lot of communication that we're doing, especially with our new schools. So, for Winding Waters and Suncoast, it may look a little bit different than some of our existing. But yeah, we communicate from now until March.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And even afterwards. Good.
Yes.
Do you want to move forward with your presentation?
okay.
Thank you.
So this was just to show some of what we did was we pulled our current year kindergartners, so our 25-26 kindergartners, their PM1 data on STAR Early Literacy. And what the difference is, the blue is for children who had been in our Hernando County School District VPK program. The green is for children who had simply not participated in our Hernando County School District VPK program. They may have attended a VPK someplace else. They might have been in a daycare, but it's just they were not
In our
within
program.
our 14 classes that we had last year. And you can see both for the two highest levels, the 707 plus, which the 707 for Renaissance is their quote unquote kindergarten ready score. So we are outperforming non-Hernando County School District VPK students on that. And then the 678, that's that benchmark number to say that they are considered as at or above benchmark on their PM1. And again, we're over 20% higher in number of students who are achieving that. And then on the other side, the last three sets are the ones that are either on watch, intervention, or urgent intervention. And again, for those, we want to have our students lower than students who have not participated in our program.
So if I'm interpreting that right, then 27% of our students are on watch or below standards, where it looks like about 47% of the other students are below?
Now, I will also say for the STAR Early Literacy for VPK, there is only an English test.
So this is in English?
This is in English. And so if
So
a student,
we have half as many students roughly behind in English entering kindergarten than the VPK or
Yes.
other alternatives.
Yes.
We should be celebrating that as loud as we can in the public to let them know how good our programs are, so we get more people wanting to enroll in our programs.
So we fill up really, really fast with our VPK programs, and we do share that on the flyers and different things that we put out, and the elementary schools do as well. So, yes. I think the other thing that sets us apart is we have certified teachers that are teaching in our VPK programs. So that's definitely different than private providers. Okay.
Can you state that again?
So in our VPK programs, we have certified teachers. In private providers, they don't have certified teachers teaching their VPK programs. I mean, there may be a certified teacher, but it's usually a CDA, which I'm not, saying that that's not good. It's just we have certified teachers in our VPK programs.
I just wanted to get that out there for anyone
Yes.
who's listening.
And again, that's why I stated what I stated, Mark.
Yes.
My grandson was 21% to 81% with certified teachers at Winding Waters K through 8. Like, the leaps and bounds he made by being in that kind of setting makes the difference in the world. Foundation is our biggest thing, and if we don't get it from foundation, that's where we lose them.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be great if we were funded 100% in every
Yes.
public school full
Yes.
time?
It would be wonderful.
Don't we have some people going to Tallahassee this week
We
on
do.
the board?
Do we?
Yes, in Georgia
Me
they
and Shannon
do.
will-
They
me
do
and Shannon will
fund their
definitely
teachers in Georgia.
Verbalize for that.
And
Because I would,
Gus Guardino was a big fan of this.
Yes.
the
I
biggest
heard,
thing,
I heard that it's real easy when you go up there to put a request in and it happens. So I
yeah,
think that's-
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so
we'll get
let's
it.
make
most
that
definitely.
happen, that magic
But
happen.
I will tell you the biggest reason why the state does not want, why it didn't pass last year to fund us for a full day is because some believe that they shouldn't be paying for kids to take naps. And in our VPKs, they still take naps. And I did say, well,
Well,
not
if that's
for
the
nothing.
case, we'll keep them up.
Right, not for nothing, but my 4-year-old really doesn't need a nap anymore. And when he does nap, he
Right.
comes home and he's up until 11 o'clock because he
Right.
took a nap.
And I-
so
Yeah. I
But some
think
children
part of
need
it
it.
too, it's part of that developmental process. Like they're babies. They're gonna, that's part of that classroom, or should be. I taught kindergarten for a long time, and my kindergarten students took naps and needed those naps, right? So it's part of that developmental classroom. So
And I will agree with that because that's what even his teachers will say. He needs that nap after he's had 6
Yeah.
hours of learning. Like he's tired.
they're
and
tired.
he
Yeah,
goes
they're
to sleep.
babies.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
But that doesn't stand to reason to me. That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. I could go and argue with anybody about that. It doesn't.
Let's do that this week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It might be good to add that to also our legislative platform, start collecting ideas for next year. That might be a good one to put on there to keep it
Absolutely.
written
I'll
down
be-
somewhere.
I'll meet with Sean Foster while I'm there, and I'll tell him that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And we did have a slide here that kind of walks through that timeline of registration that we just spoke about, and how we offer some assistance in that. But we'll look at that March date and see if there's some flexibility. I know we plan that with our data entry people at the school site as to like when they also find that they have time and ready, because that's like there's like a survey window that's been completed at that point. So it's when they're a little bit more accessible to be starting registration for the next school year. So, but we can have some conversation with them about that.
Okay. Thank you.
And then here's some examples of some of the flyers that we have previously put out. And then we have put in an order for some yard signs. I do have some folders here to give you some examples. Sure. So we've ordered some yard signs to put out in the community. We're hoping to find some community partners that will allow us to put those up in their parking lots to advertise. We also created some double-sided postcards to put out at pediatrician offices and at the public libraries, and then some signs that we're going to hang on the school fences as well, where we have the VPK programs. And then we also had our communication department go out to Winding Waters and make an adorable video highlighting the benefits of VPK. So I cannot wait for you guys to see that video. They had a drone in the classroom, and the kids were just so excited, and it's adorable. So I think you guys are going to love that when that gets put out. So, and then Suncoast did start advertising for their classroom so that their families are understanding that, yeah, now they need to get those VPK certificates ready because now they can offer a program. So they're very excited. I saw a lot of
Is
That's
this the yard sale sign?
Yes.
Now, when this number is dialed with that extension, does somebody
That's Connie.
answer at all times?
Well, not at
Well,
all times,
yeah.
because I'm also at school, but.
That's
I
the
call them.
problem.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do want to say that I think that that's a deficit for us. I think whatever number is on here, that we should have somebody manning that phone during this time frame, because when you miss that call, a lot of times the parents then dial someone else, or God forbid, they don't get a call back. I'm not saying you would never do that, but just whatever. I think be back sometimes don't come back. And I'm a business owner, and I can tell you that if we miss calls and stuff, they go to the next. So I just think that's extremely imperative. And I do hear a lot of times parents say they've called somewhere and they can't get back, they can't get through. You know, being a school board member, parents reach out to us constantly, and that's one of their biggest concerns. So for me, that alerts me. I just want you guys to know that whatever number you put on here with that extension, I don't care if you hired, a teenager that's looking for, something.
we can
You
do
can
that.
forward your call.
It will
when
go,
you're out of the
yeah.
office.
It
You
does
can forward
record
it to
the
someone.
voicemail and that there was a phone call, so Connie is able to reach right back out to them.
But
The reason,
voicemail is the problem. It should be a live.
That's what
voice
he's.
is
I mean, you
he's
could
saying.
forward the call if someone's not.
We
If you're
can-
not in.
We can
Okay.
work through some of the secretaries
Yeah.
in the department to see if
I
Connie's not in
think
her
that's
office.
imperative for the time
Yeah.
frame that
Okay.
we're trying to capture them.
Yeah.
okay.
So
I think for the time frame of like January
Right.
through
Right now.
March.
this
Season,
time,
yes.
Right.
just
Yes.
forward calls to someone else so
Yep.
that someone answers.
Okay.
Yep.
agreed. For that window, that's
sure.
the time
Okay.
that you don't want to miss a call, that we don't want to get an automated. And a lot of
can
times
do that.
parents only have a moment and they don't get back around to being able to call back, or you go to reach them, now they're at work.
Right,
So I
right.
think we
Like a
need to
sales call.
capture
Yeah.
them the moment that they're free and that they're looking for us. So if they're looking for us and we're going to hire these other companies to retain our students and we're going to do all
Right.
these things, then we need to be proactive and make sure that there's a live person on the other end of that phone, so that we don't miss that parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we don't like the idea of having to pay another company to retain the kids and get them
Yeah.
back. Quite frankly, I'd rather not lose them to begin with.
Right.
And that's what we're both. That's what Shannon's talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We're not selling the school system. We're just saying, oh yeah, come here. Now we have to sell it. The climate has changed. The community has changed. The culture has changed. So we have to be proactive.
Right.
And you guys are doing a good job with the pre-K, doing
Yes.
that,
Okay.
selling it.
Well,
We're
for sure.
hitting every pediatrician's office. Like they've created a list. Those flyers are going to be going out.
We'll have a bigger waiting list at the end of this year. I'm
Yeah.
100% sure.
No,
And we'll have
But
that
even by
data.
just promoting it that first time on social media, people are hitting on it left and right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Quickly.
definitely
Absolutely.
felt and seen what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
That's a
Could you explain really quick the VPK June 9th through July 11th?
Yes. So we do
Please.
have a summer VPK program for any of the students in our community that did not previously use their VPK certificate. So they can get a summer, well, it's not even like a summer VPK certificate. It's the same certificate, but we deliver 300 hours over the summer. So it's a long day. It's a 10-hour day. And we're getting ready to plan.
Is that this is going to be the first time doing it?
Oh, no,
We
we've
did
been
it
doing
last
it for
summer?
a while.
No, this has been, since 2006. We've always had summer VPK, and that's for families that didn't use the voucher during the school year. So if I decided, I'm home with my child during the school year, but I want them to do that, use my voucher for the summer, they can use it for that program. So we've had that in
New
place for
families
years.
to Florida that now are
Yes.
eligible, or some of our ESC students that have been part of the ESC pre-K, they didn't use a voucher to participate in that, so they can come to the summer VPK program, certain things like that. So we do a couple of classrooms in the schools. They have to provide their own transportation, but we provide breakfast and lunch, and it's a long day, and those kids are tuckered out at the end of the day.
I bet. When do you advertise for that?
We start after the fall registration so that there's no confusion.
Okay, makes
so,
sense.
Yeah, just to keep it all ready to go.
Okay. Mr. Pender?
And just to clarify one thing that I know you understand it, you used a word, you used recruit with the company. We're not paying a company to recruit. We're not paying a company to retain. We're paying a company to recruit.
We
So
need
just
to
as a-
retain as well.
Yes, our job.
We need to
Our
retain.
job is to retain.
So they don't have to.
I just wanted to make sure. Yes, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that was clear.
For VPK or kindergarten. So remember that too.
With that company, we're doing our own recruitment.
Yes.
Yep.
I understand that, but once we lose them, it'll be tough to get them back. So if we can retain them, then we're doing our job, and we could do that through what you're doing and advertise our strengths in all the schools, not just the magnet schools.
Do we also provide breakfast and lunch for these kids for VPK? That's a great thing to market too.
They're 100% Hernando County students, which really is wonderful. So the only thing that they don't get is transportation. Parents do have to provide transportation, but they get student numbers. They're part of just the Hernando County family right from when school starts.
And I would just like to say that we're able to expand this program thanks to millage.
And you do a good job, but there's always room for improvement.
Yes, so our constituents that voted for that, for the millage, it's definitely a benefit. It's a blessing.
All right. Do we have any further questions, discussion? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Mr. Myers, do you have any closing comments?
I do, if you can indulge me for a couple minutes. And I don't know if this is on in your legislative package or not, but I understand two of you are going to the legislature tomorrow, and the superintendent is going. And I want to stress a particular bill that's making a lot of progress through the legislature and is, in my opinion, very detrimental to local governments and school districts, and that's this bill to increase the sovereign immunity cap. So let's sort of talk about where we are, sort of the perspective of the plaintiff's attorney. So right now, if you want to sue local government or school districts, the cap per person is $200,000. And a lot of these cases settle at or below the cap. Is it worth litigating that? Probably not. So it's $200,000 per person, $300,000 per incident. With the proposal, and these bills have been in front of the legislature for the last 4 or 5 years, is to go from $200,000 per person to I think it's $500,000 per person and $1 million per incident. So if you're a plaintiff's attorney, what you do is you look for deep pockets. Who has the deep pockets? Government has deep pockets. So think about this, the possibility that you could file a claim. Let's say, it was just a bus accident or a slip and fall. Instead of looking for a max of $200,000, you get almost $500,000 if the district wants to settle. So there may be fewer settlements, but if the plaintiff's attorney thinks they have a good case, now you're talking about litigation. So it's hard to estimate what the cost would be to school districts and counties and cities across the state, but I believe it would, I hate to use the word catastrophic, but very serious. This is for 5 years. In 2031, the caps will go up to $600,000 per person and $1.2 million per incident. It's already, this one bill, HB 145, has already passed the House. It's on its way to the Senate. There are a couple other bills. Companion bills are a little different. But like I say, you're going to have lawyers lining up, in front of the school district building, just waiting for somebody to fall and file these claims. So my recommendation is to try to lobby against it, because, like I say, nothing good can come of it from a public agency perspective.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Myers, when you look at some of the bills that are filed each year, it's because there's an award for a judgment of $500,000 for an individual. So our legislation is approving those settlements.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I think what you're referring to, anything over $200,000 per person has to go if you want to get a private bill through the legislature.
Right, correct.
That gets very political, though, and very few people actually get that done.
Right.
But this gives a lot more leeway to the lawyers instituting the lawsuits. It also, what the bill also does, it gives the district the ability to settle bills over the cap, because the thinking is it's political to get a private bill through the legislature. So that's where we are. And like I say, what I've heard is this bill is one of these bills is likely to pass, and I just think it's bad news for those of us who work in government or represent governments.
Thank you for that input. Any further discussion? Okay. So this workshop is adjourned at 2:58 p.m.